Okay, so who do I think is going to get the Antoine Hubert Rookie of the
Year?
Award?
Okay.
Now, this award is really prestigious and
Is
some great
indeed.
drivers
There's
have
Joe,
this.
Yuki.
And it's really difficult because I could easily sit here and say Oscar Piastri, but I'm going to go a little bit different and I'm going to go with one of the high-tech boys. Now, I can't actually say Yuri Vips because he did do FIA F2 last year when he stepped in for Jean Galeo at Dams. So I'm going to go with Liam Lawson. Now, I know he's not the obvious pick because Liam is kind of quite an underdog in the...
I think he was this year
as well as in the Red Bull Junior program. He's kind of the one that's there, but he's not always spoke about. He had 2 great years in FIA F3, and I feel like he is going to step up and do well. We know that the high tech is very good. They won last year with both Luca Giotto and Nikita Mazepin, so I really feel like it's going to still be just as good this year, and I feel like the car is still going to perform, and I do feel like both high techs are going to be up there. But if I'm looking at Rookie of the Year, I know I could say Oscar, but I'm going to say Liam Lawson.
Okay, so before I move on to the next bit, it's difficult for me to explain this bit without ruining the next bit of the video, but what I was trying to do here was say someone other than Oscar Piastri, because I understand that the person who is higher up in the championship gets the award. And I had to explain this a lot in my comments, but I didn't really make it that clear in the video. But Liam Lawson, done very well this year, but wasn't quite Rookie of the Year. I've got the stats here, and it was actually Théo Pourchaire who came 5th with 140 points. And Liam Lawson ended up 9th with 103 points. So it actually wasn't like loads off him. I think Théo had a really big spurt of, racecraft as he did in Formula 3 the year before, and he just spurts himself up and next thing you know he's there. And Liam also did have a lot of bad luck, so I think that's probably where I kind of have not quite got this right, but maybe without Liam's bad luck, because his car was, I'm sure his car was cursed this year. I think without that, he could have definitely been up there, but not quite Keira.
Okay, so next is who I think is going to be the worst teammates. Now, we know we get some funny teammates in Formula 2. They just tend to go wherever they feel like it. But I feel like the worst people who are going to be teammates this year are probably Marcus Armstrong and Roy Nissany. And I don't know what it is about it. I think it's because in my head I've got the Williams pair of Dan Ticktum and Roy Nissany from last year, and that just, as much as they weren't teammates,
they were a joke.
Didn't work
last year.
It just didn't work. And I just get a feeling that these two are going to have issues, and not from Marcus, but probably from Roy. I feel like we all know Roy likes to make a couple of mistakes and he's not the best driver, but I just have a feeling it's going to end very sour.
Honestly, I was so wrong here. Roy Nissany, I'm going to give a lot of praise to him now, because he really, unless my memory is just completely gone out the window, I really don't think he caused anything this year. Like, I think he's been so much more behaved this year than he had last year, and I think he's been great. I think him and Marcus were absolutely fine this year together. I don't think there was anything that they'd done that was too untoward or anything like that. So honestly, I was wrong there, but who I would actually say was the worst teammates, I don't even know. Like, maybe the Trident pair, did they ever come together? I can't even think of any teammates which were that bad this year. I think you and I were fine. Prema were pretty much fine. Everyone was quite well behaved this year. Maybe the big gaps were like sorting everyone out. Maybe the Charoux. I don't know. No one was really that bad.
I feel like they're going to have a lot of instances, and I hope it doesn't impact Marcus on his whole year.
I was buzzing for Marcus at the start of the year.
He's underperforming from Marcus. So I'm really hoping that I get proved wrong in this one, but I just have a feeling there's going to be some sort of tension and some like a weird dynamic there at Dams. Now next is who I think is going to be the best teammates. Now honestly, I have said the Campos pair of Ralph Boschung and Jean-Luc Petikov. Now this is just, I don't know, I was kind of and ahhing with this one, because we know that in the past Ralph has kind of been a little bit touch and go. He's been a little bit immature, but actually no, I think he is quite mature. And I feel like with Jean-Luc this year, I think he's going to be a lot better. I think Ralph has matured a lot. He's been in and out of Formula 2 enough to know how to work with a teammate now. And obviously Jean-Luc is a rookie coming in. He came straight from Freca. So he is going to really be a rookie. Like, he has not had any...
Jean-Luc. I did think they were going to get on really well, because as I said, Ralph is a really experienced teammate, and then Jean-Luc kind of didn't have that experience, and he kind of skipped the F3 ladder, which obviously didn't work in hindsight, because he couldn't carry on his season due to financial issues, and I think he went back to Freca, or is it Freca now or Freca? No, it's Freca now. Freca now for the last couple of rounds. So that's really is a shame. But I think anybody that was with Ralph wasn't actually that bad this year, so maybe it still is Campos. But I know he had so many teammates. Who did he even have this year? He had Ollie Caldwell. I'm sure he had Matteo Nannini for a little bit as well. But maybe it is just Ralph and the team. Maybe they were just the best teammates, just having one driver.
experience in FIA F3, so it's going to be a new experience for him, but I actually do feel like they're going to work very well at Campos together. I could be proved wrong. It's going to be one of those ones that either goes really well or goes really, really bad.
It was
but
actually
I just have a feeling it's going to be good. Now next is who I think is going to get the most pole positions. Ooh. Now I think it's going to be Felipe Drugovich, and this is just because I just think that UNI is going to be very strong, and Felipe is a good qualifier anyway, and I feel like he's just going to pull out the bag. He's going to do like a Callum Ilott from last year and just get all these pole positions, and he's definitely probably going to get more pole positions than his teammate Guan Yu Zhou, just because Zhou just has never been that person to get the poles.
He never was.
So I feel like it's going to be Felipe. I don't know. I do exactly feel like, as I've just said, he's going to do a Callum Ilott and kind of...
No. Okay, I've got the stats here. I will read this to you. So Guan Yu Zhou had 1 pole. Teo Pourchaire had 1 pole. Liam Lawson had 1 pole. Oscar Piastri had 5. It was well and truly Oscar Piastri this year. Felipe did not get any poles. I don't know how close he was to pole. I'm sure he was up there a couple of times. I do remember seeing his name up there, but unfortunately no poles for him. So I am very wrong there. But I had a lot of faith in Felipe, but obviously that was the incorrect thing to do.
Do exactly what Callum did and just get all these poles out of nowhere. Callum. Just going to keep coming and coming. So I'm going to say Felipe Drugovich for that one. Next is who do I think is going to get the most podiums without a win?
Question.
Now, I think this guy's going to get a win eventually this year, but I feel like he's going to have a long string of like seconds and thirds before he gets that win. And this is, you know, very repetitive of his career. And it is Guan Yu Zhou. I feel like he will have a better year than last year, but as we know, he had been in Formula 2 for like a year and a half and hadn't got that win. And then he finally got that very odd win that the race actually got stopped on. I would like to see that Zhou actually gets like a proper win, and that it's not kind of like not half-hearted because he put his all into it, but it's not that the race got stopped. But I just feel like he's gonna have another year of loads of podiums, and he's gonna have a year of loads of seconds.
Oh my gosh, I don't think that was true. That wasn't true. I'm sure Guan Yu Zhou had loads of wins. I don't actually have the stats for this one, so if anybody knows this one, let me know. I mean, I can see here all of the race winners. That Liam Lawson was a race winner, Oscar Piastri was a race winner, Guan Yu Zhou, Dan Ticktum, Teo Pourchaire, Robert Schwartzman, Yuri Vips, Richard Verschoor, Felipe Drugovich, and Marcus Armstrong were all race winners, but I don't actually know who went on the podium without a win. I would probably say it might be Ben Viscal, you know. Was Ben not on the podium twice this year, and he did not get a win? So it could be Ben Viscal there, but I am doing that off the top of my head. But unfortunately, well not unfortunately, it wasn't him.
And thirds before he gets the win, but I definitely feel like by the end of the season he will have at least one win.
He had one. How many wins did Zhou have?
He's always that one that's always there, but not quite there. Now next is who will create the most crashes. No, I don't think this one is that difficult actually. It is Alessio De Leda. Well, we know why he's got up into Formula 2, because he's got the money, and it's a shame because there's so many other drivers that I would have loved to have seen come up in the HWA, but it's happened. He is up there with Matteo Nannini, who also has a lot of money, so it's just a bit of a money team, to be honest, this year. But yeah, De Leda, we know De Leda can crash with anyone and anything. He can literally crash by himself. Like, he can just spin. And you watch the replay.
He was so funny in F3.
How have you actually done that? He's one of those drivers. How have you done that? And I feel like it's going to be no different in F2. I think it's probably going to be worse in F2. I can just imagine him creating a lot.
He didn't. Again, Alessio De Leda did not. The only thing Alessio De Leda done bad this year was qualify out of the 107 rule, and every time the FIA were like, don't worry about it, join the race. He was kind of dangerous in the sense that he was so slow, but I don't think he really created any crashes. I think the person that probably created the most crashes, I would say, is Guilherme Samaya. I would definitely think Samaya probably done more this year, which again, I expected it from him as well. But thinking about this, I don't think De Leda was that bad. Congrats.
Of carnage, and we do like a little bit of carnage in F2. I think that's what makes it. We know we like having these drivers that are a little bit crap, because it makes it. But at the same time, it's like, I hope you don't negatively impact somebody's season like a lot. Like, imagine if he keeps crashing with the same person, it would just be awful. I think it's definitely going to be Alessio De Leda who creates the most crashes, because we've seen how he drives in the most way. So if he drives like that on the track, which he kind of does, we're in for a ride. Now this is the bit we've all been waiting for. I'm going to be predicting the Constructors' Championship.
Oh my
last year I didn't do too bad. If you want to see that video, I also
want to see 2020.
I also reacted to that video, so
go back.
I will leave it down below. But this year, I'm going to really try. I'm going to really try to do
I was going to try.
So, for my Constructors' top 3, I have said, in third place, I have said High Tech GP. Okay. I just feel like High Tech are still going to be on the up from last year, and they have got 2 really good drivers in Yuri Vips and also Liam Lawson. And I just feel like that is a really strong pair.
It
I think
is.
that's one of
It
the
actually
strongest
is
on the
so
grid,
strong.
like the Premier lineup.
Can't
So
even cap.
I really feel like it's very strong, and I feel like it's gonna, you know, they're gonna have a lot of momentum going into them, and I feel like they could easily bag third place. You know, I might be wrong, but I feel like they could. For second, I have said UNI Virtuosi. As much as I said Guan Yu Zhou isn't going to be getting loads of wins, I definitely feel like he's going to be getting
Keira, he was in for the championship.
because he's a very good driver. And Felipe Drugovich, I've said he's going to get loads of poles, and I feel like he's going to get a lot of wins. So that's kind of how I came to this. I do feel like UNI are very strong. I'm not just saying that because they're from Norfolk and they are from where I'm from, but I genuinely do feel like that they are going to be very competitive this year as they were last year, and they're just going to bring that momentum, and the lineup that they've got is very good. And to win the constructors, I have said none other than Prema Racing. I honestly don't think I could say anybody else. Last year, Prema literally wiped the floor with everybody in every single category.
Everyone they did in 2020, they won.
Like, they won. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's really good. Like, I am absolutely props to them. You could look at the Prema from a couple of years ago when it was Mick Schumacher in his first year and Sean Gallale, and we know that that was awful. But I definitely don't think that's going to happen again this year, because the lineup of Oscar Piastri and Robert Schwartzman is incredible. Like, that is my favourite lineup. I don't know why that was my favourite lineup, but it's probably because I love Oscar so much. So there I go. I said Carlin P3, UNI P2, and Prema P1, and it was in fact Carlin P3, UNI P2, and Prema P1. So I got the 1 and 2 correct, which I'm very proud of. And Carlin were actually up there. They had Jehan Duravala and they had Dan Tickton this year, and obviously that worked really well for them. But yeah, it wasn't high tech. I don't actually know what high tech finished. They weren't too far lower though. Prema are probably going to walk away with it even more than they did last year, which isn't what everybody wants to hear, because we would like to see a title battle. But honestly, when did Prema even win the constructors? I didn't all day, it. Every day, are going to get this constructors. Now the drivers' championship. I'm really scared to do this. So for third in the drivers, I have said Felipe Drugovich.
I know I'm putting a
lot of faith in Felipe this year, but I really do feel like he is going to shine, and I feel like he's really going to have that in him. I feel like last year he had it in him, but like he wasn't quite in the right place to be able to really utilise that, whereas now he's at UNI and they are a top team in Formula 2, unless things change. I mean, we never know in Formula 2. It could just roll reverse again, but I do feel like he's going to be at the top for a lot of it, and he's such a strong driver, and he is someone that has been a dark horse coming up the feeder series. I feel like he's going to bag that third place, and technically classed as best of the rest, because in second place I have got Robert Schwartzman. Now Robert Schwartzman, we know, is just a really good driver, an amazing driver. He's in the FDA and he is tipped to kind of have an alpha seat in the next couple of years, so it's kind of bold of me to say that he's not going to win the championship. And I kind of, going into 2020, I was like,
so on a Robert high.
Definitely going to win the championship, but obviously he had a bit of a bad, end of the year last year, so I haven't tipped him for the win this year, and I feel really bad, but I haven't tipped him for the win this year. But I definitely feel like he's gonna bring the momentum, bring the fight. But I do think he's gonna get tipped by Oscar Piastri, who is the reigning FIA F3 champion. I don't know what it is about Oscar. I just have so much faith in that guy that I would tip him over Robert Schwartzman, and quite comfortably actually, which I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling Oscar is going to bring it more than Rob. And the mistakes that Rob made last year, Oscar hadn't made those mistakes ever from what I've watched from him. So that's where I'm kind of looking at this thinking, I feel like it's going to be Oscar over Rob, but I could be wrong. But I definitely think it's going to be one of the Premas. I think they're going to be close. I think the Premas are going to have their own battle up in the lead. And I'm just so excited to see how this is going to play out.
Oh my gosh. So there we have it. Those were my predictions. So, okay, let's go to these drivers. So I said Felipe Drugovich for P3. I said Robert Schwartzman for P2 and Piastri for P1. And it was in actual fact Guan Yu Zhou in P3, Robert Schwartzman in P2, and Oscar Piastri in P1. So I nearly pretty much got that right. I got the top 1 and 2 right again. So again, I know that kind of isn't difficult, because if you are to look at what I've said Prema, UNI, and then the 2 Premas. But not everybody would have said that, and not everybody would have tipped Oscar Piastri. Because I know when I said Oscar Piastri for this championship, I had so many comments like, "What? You've got to put Oscar Piastri? What a silly thing to do." Where are you now? Where are you now? I have got that bang on, and everything I said in that video I completely agree with. I would trust that man with my life. Like, I can't tell you how much I believe in Oscar Piastri, and it is a crime that he does not have a Formula 1 seat. But maybe I will do that video a little bit sooner, because I really think that should be something that we need to talk about a little bit more. But yeah, overall, done a pretty good job. So there we have it. That is it for today's video, and that is me reacting to my F2 predictions for 2021. Overall, I think I've done a very good job, and I do feel like this year I think I've done better than last year. But if you do want to watch all of them, I've got a playlist for all of my predictions and also for my reactions to my predictions on my channel. So if you want to just go and binge them all and see what I've said for all these years, I would love you to do so. Like this video if you did enjoy it, subscribe to my channel down below for more, and I will see you again soon for a brand new video. Bye!
done.